Beware Spoilers. I am Adam. I have just seen Belfast. In all likelihood, this will probably be up before the Disney Plus day on 30-minute reviews, only because I'm recording this on my phone as I drive on my way to get myself something to eat, because I have not yet eaten yet today, and that is, not good. So, Belfast. There's a movie that comes to mind as I watched this, and the thing is, it's like, I didn't want to be like, oh, it's better than or worse than this other movie, because let's be honest, I don't think it's fair to draw comparisons. But that said, it's one of those things that feels like Kenneth Branagh's answer to this movie, and that, I don't think that anyone really needed that, where I'm talking about Roma, where it's like, Roma is this movie that was shot in black and white. It's the story of Alfonso Cuarón's, if I remember correctly, it was meant to be his mother. It's a very well shot movie, very beautifully directed, and it tells the story, of this woman who, ends up pregnant and then has to, put up with the stigma of the time that goes along with that, being unmarried, and then also having to not just have that go on, but also, while she's going through that, also be stuck with and then she has the miscarriage during the Civil War that's going on. I've watched this movie a long time ago, so please bear with me if my information is a little bit dodgy, but I feel like the issue with this is that it feels like it's trying to do kind of the same thing, but less successfully, and it's like, it feels very, masturbatory in a way, where it's like, I really do like the direction, and the thing is, like, there are some narrative, not inconsistencies or plot holes per se, but I would call them more like, pitfalls. But you can forgive them in a movie like this, because it's all told from the perspective of a child, and there's a very voyeuristic, direction style to it, where a lot of the information from the, quote-unquote adult world that's being relayed to Buddy is kind of relayed in a way that he's looking on. He's seeing something he shouldn't be seeing. And a lot of times, the camera reflects that we're seeing it from Buddy's perspective, where it's hidden away in a corner, where we're watching something that we shouldn't be seeing. And I think if we're being honest, like, that works, and then it also kind of explains away why there's information we're not privy to, because, like, Buddy's not there all the time, and it's like, we're kind of seeing the movie through his perspective, and, when things don't 100% gel or 100% line up, you're in a situation where you can kind of forgive it, because it makes sense that this kid wouldn't have all his information. So I'm willing to forgive a lot of that. I think, too, that the issue where, and if that's something that you're gonna get caught up on, if you're one of those people who's like, here are some plot holes from this, it's like, it's not a plot hole, it's a stylistic choice, and there is a difference. A stylistic choice is something where we can look at a movie and we can be like, oh, okay, so there are gaps in what we, the audience, are told, but that's because there's gaps in what's being told to the kid. So it makes sense, and you can kind of gel with that, and it kind of makes sense, and I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of things here that work. It just doesn't execute to the same level Roma does, which it feels wrong to be comparing the movies, because it's like, it's not a direct comparison, but there are enough similarities between the two that Roma just kind of executes it better. And if you're going to watch one of these two movies, I would say Roma, does it better. And this movie makes a strong case for Kenneth Branagh to win a Best Director, because a lot of the things that happen in this movie happen from a director's standpoint. And when it does that well, and it works, and it really adds to the overall experience of the movie. Do I think that 100% of the time everything lands? No, not specifically, but if you ask me what didn't, I couldn't point it out. And I think a lot of it comes into, like, what did I, as a viewer, bump into? And it's like, when information isn't clearly laid out for me, I don't always bump into that, because maybe it'll be explained, and maybe there's a narrative reason why it doesn't need to be explained, and if that's the case, then that's equally okay. And I don't think I really bumped into anything in this movie, but it's one of those things where it's like it's beautifully shot, and it's a story about this kid coming of age during turmoil, and it's the kind of thing that is perfectly okay. It's perfectly passable. It's a serviceable movie that is elevated by one or two things it does extraordinarily well. And I think that's kind of one of my favorite subgenres of movie is the movie that would be fine and would be perfectly content to be fine, but something else brings up beyond. And I think that again, I feel like I'm short. I'm short. Like I feel like I'm simultaneously not doing the movie enough justice, but also, giving it the short end of the stick. Because if we look at what this movie is and how it works, I feel like the fundamental thing here is that we can give it the excuse for the narrative shortcomings or pitfalls or things like that because of how well directed it is and how much of the story is thereby told through direction. And I think that had that not been the case, you would have had an issue. But I mean, I feel like that should be a fault, but at the same time, it shouldn't be a fault. I don't know. The movie's good. If you liked Roma, you'll probably like this. If you like, coming of age stories, you'll probably like this. I would definitely recommend you watch this movie because, I don't think you're gonna get. I think it's gonna get a few nominations, and I think that Kenneth Branagh is, I think for me at this point, a clear favorite to win Best Director. But I don't know. I don't have I don't have too much more to say on this, because it's a perfectly good movie. It's not aggressively bad, and there's nothing that really gets shortchanged in any way, so check it out. Worth your time to watch it, I think. So with that, we'll be back. I'm going to be doing Home Sweet Home Alone. I'm going to watch it tonight, and I'll do a review tomorrow. So until then, have a great rest of your day.